What is up, guys, and welcome to the private video on the 30th of September, the last day of the month, last day of the quarter. So I think in this video, it'll be a good time to, I guess, talk about Q4, maybe reflect on Q3, and also talk about like what should we expect in the next coming months. Because I feel like everyone is focused on today and like what's gonna happen like in the next 7 days, and that is important. But I think it's also good to just like plan ahead, right? Like, because if you're only focused on the now, then like how are you gonna adapt? So, talk about ecosystem rotations and what I'm expecting and my outlook for Q4. So I'll be talking about Avalanche, obviously, OmiseGo and the Boba network, the Terra ecosystem, Fantom, and then Harmony. Okay, and then I'll wrap it up. So obviously, the price action for AVAX hasn't been that great recently. I mean, it's still outperforming like the majority of the markets in the past month or so. In the Aave curve, like not launching on time, or just like like not knowing when it's gonna launch is kind of frustrating. But it is what it is. I think I mean I'm personally like not like like super mad or sad about it because we know it's coming, right? It's not like they're like posting fake news and like gonna rug us. It is coming. Ava Labs, they're waiting on Aave to just turn on the switch, and when they turn on the switch, it's gonna go live, and the rates are gonna be insane. I have like the next 3 videos planned for the public channel, just talking about Aave, but my hands are kind of tied because it's not live yet. But for those that don't know what to expect about Aave, I'm gonna make a video on it. In fact, I'll kind of show you here. Let me just pull this slide up. No, I have this entire slide set like prepared about like, okay, like what is Aave, and this is like targeting more beginners, right? Like, what is Aave? Like, what should you expect? Like, given these net APRs or APYs on these farms, here are different strategies that you can use. So I'm ready, but I feel like everyone is ready. But I kind of already have this skeleton slide set up, and it's gonna be a good one. But yeah, if this is like your first time trying Aave, just wait for this video. I'll upload it as soon as Aave does launch. But yeah, I mean, my conviction is still like heavy in AVAX. Like, I mean, I'm not faltering. We know that billions of dollars will flow into the ecosystem, and I'm just waiting, right? I'm just waiting. I'm probably gonna start taking profits at like 80, 85, $90 ish. Start paying off these loans, and going to Aave. Because I think when Aave launches, I'm just gonna sit still on Benki, just because I have these debts, and I don't want to pay these off until like AVAX goes on a run. But like I don't mind missing like out on a few days or like a week of Aave rewards, just because this is still a pretty decent farm, right? You're still earning like decent amount on AVAX, on Bitcoin as well, and I guess I'm borrowing like Tether for free essentially, but just that. And also I discussed this on the Discord, FarmersOnly. I think this could be a pretty good farm, and when I say good farm, like I need to like temper expectations, right? Because when I say good farm, I don't mean that this is going to be like a life-changing gains thing. When I say good farm, I just mean that it's unlikely to rug, and you're probably going to make your deposit fee back. That's essentially like my definition of a good farm. Because if you deposit $10,000 into this, you'll pay $400 in fees, and I'm just saying that like I think given how it looks and given how the market looks, I think you're going to make more than $400. Like, that's my definition. Because like, my reasoning is that they're KYC the rug doc, which has some merit, and they also liquidity locked. They also locked their liquidity with the rug doc, right? Meaning that they're not going to rug. They're not going to rug us. That's like the main way that people hard rug is like they provide liquidity, and the devs just pull the liquidity so you can't sell your tokens, right? And they just like take all the funds. But that's because they locked it with rug doc. Rug doc's not going to like do that, right? So. That's all I mean, right? Don't expect this to be like a crazy good farm. I just mean that you're probably gonna make your deposit fee back. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if I'll enter this because I don't know if it's worth the trouble, and I'm like pretty busy like doing my own research for other ecosystems. But like if you do enter this, the general strategy is like farm and dump this, right? Don't marry the farm. Don't like have crazy expectations for this token. If you join the Telegram, they're gonna post a bunch of bullish things, but at the end of the day, it's a farm token. It's a farm token. Just don't marry a farm token. News about Trader Joe. Trader Joe is going to get Avalanche rewards, like I mentioned. It's going to be $20 million. $10 million paid in the Joe token, $10 million paid in the AVAX token. So, pretty big, I think. Pretty big. They're getting more AVAX tokens than Curve. And people were disappointed because it begins in mid-October. People thought it was going to launch October 4th because that's when Banker Joe was going to launch. And I think they said that they were like, there's been more delays and whatever. Like there's a lot of delays in the Avalanche ecosystem, which is frustrating, but it is what it is, right? We can't really control it. And this is going to be good for liquidity providers, right? Because I'm sure that most of this is going to go to people that's providing liquidity. And in terms of like whether or not it's bullish for the Joe token, I think it could be, but like I've always been mentioning, I don't own any Joe or Yak, right? I think those are like the two, I guess, the blue chips of the ecosystem for now. Maybe you can argue Yak is not like a blue chip, but Joe is definitely a blue chip. And the reason being is that I often look at this case study of looking at like what happened in the Polygon ecosystem, because the reason I became bullish on the Avalanche ecosystem back in mid-August was because I compared this ecosystem to Polygon, right? Because of the liquidity mining incentives. And this case study said that QuickSwap went on a huge run. It topped April 30th, and then it just went down, right? It's just like it's a farm token. It just went down. Whereas Polygon on April 30th was like at 90 cents, 80 cents, and then it peaked 3 weeks later on May 18th. So my thesis has been, I think, Joe is going to top before AVAX. And when it does, it's going to induce max pain for Joe holders, right? Because imagine a scenario where, imagine like this is the chart for Joe, right? It just like peaks, everyone's euphoric, and then it just kind of dumps, and people are kind of like hopeful that it's going to keep going up. And in the meantime, just like Avalanche goes on a huge run and goes on a blow off top, right? I think that's like the max pain scenario where you knew that AVAX is going to be a good ecosystem, but you held the wrong token. I'm not calling a top on Joe by any means. I think it's more likely to go up than it is to go down. However, just because I don't want to expose myself to that potential possibility, I'm just holding AVAX and sitting comfy on it. And to be honest, like the Joe chart doesn't even look that bad. The chart that does look bad is Yak, right? This is the Yak AVAX chart. This is the price of Yak divided by the price of AVAX. And since late August, it's just gone down perpetually. So like if you're holding Yak, right, you're taking on more risk for more upside potentially, but it's outperformed AVAX like significantly. In fact, like from here, it's underperformed AVAX 60%. So like if you're holding Yak, like what is your thesis, right? Like are you just hoping that this thing turns around? I mean, it could, but like you should have like more realistic expectations for Yak. So there's that. So let's just go over. Oh, before I go into the Boba network, I do want to give a shout out to Paraswap. Let's go to Avalanche. So I've heard that they're going to be airdropping to anyone that uses Paraswap. They're like a DEX aggregator, meaning that if you want to swap from AVAX to USDT, they're going to just like find like whatever liquidity or whatever DEX that has like the best liquidity, the best swap fees and whatnot. So I recommend people just use this. I think it'll be based on volume. So like the more you use this, the more tokens you'll get. I don't really know how it's going to be distributed, but I just heard that they're planning an airdrop, and all you need to do is use Paraswap. So in the future, I'll be using Paraswap for all my trades, and it's good, right? Because like you don't have to like go through all these other like these decentralized exchanges to figure out what's the best path or like what gives me the best rate. It'll just do it for you. Okay, so let's just transition into the Boba network. Actually, let's just go to this chart actually. Because the price of OmiseGo, OMG token, let me go to the 4 hour. It's been pretty good, not gonna lie. I mean, I drew these lines arbitrarily and like arbitrarily, I can't speak. And like, I'm not like a huge TA guy. I do use TA to some extent, but like, I don't really like, when I buy things, I just buy things because I think it's cheap or it's undervalued or something, not because, it's a great entry with the Fibonacci retracements, right? Yeah. But like you can't deny these horizontal lines that's been acting as support, resistance, or whatever. And like roughly at $8, like there's been like an endless bid. It's just kept getting bought up, and it's going past the previous resistance and whatnot. And I talked about OmiseGo on my first private video here, right? OmiseGo here, and my thesis for OmiseGo was that. On the 7th of September, I said they're launching their mainnet for layer 2 Ethereum on the 20th. So I'm just gonna buy this to have some exposure, right? In case like there's like bullish news and whatnot. And essentially like the bullish news, I guess, was that yeah, they're gonna launch layer 2 for Ethereum, and they're gonna be introducing a new token called Boba, and they're gonna be airdropping this to people that stake OMG tokens on Boba network on October. A date has not been announced yet, so I don't really have that much information. But no, they're going to be airdropping OMG tokens to people that stake. Boba tokens to people that stake OMG, and I'll provide a link in the description for anyone that wants to do this. But ultimately, I just wanted to talk about this because I'm not like that bullish this token actually. Because if you actually think about like what they're doing, it's kind of shady, at least in my opinion. So I talked to a few people about this too, but essentially the OMG token, they've been around I think since 2017. And I mean, they've been listing on Coinbase for a while, and they already hit their max supply, right? They already hit their max supply. So they can't really issue more tokens, I guess, like to produce revenue. So what they're essentially doing is that if you stake your OMG on the Boba network, you're going to get a Boba token, but it's really unclear like what the purpose of OMG is going to be after the Boba token comes, right? Because they essentially just rebranded OmiseGo network to the Boba network just to release a new token. And for that reason, I'm probably just going to stake OMG for the airdrop and just sell after, right? I'm kind of worried that like everyone's going to do the same and the OMG token's going to dump immediately. And I also like don't know how much Boba tokens they're going to airdrop, so I am taking on the risk, right? Like maybe I stake a bunch of OMG and like I get like barely nothing, right? And it's like goddamn, like I just got rugged. But that's kind of how I'm thinking. Like the price is going up, and you're gonna see a bunch of bullish things. But like I'm not personally like I'm not that bullish. OmiseGo, just because I don't like what the hell's the utility of this token, right? Also, I've also did some more research, and the holder of OmiseGo tokens that's going to be staking it will also be getting airdrops of Oolongswap, right? Which kind of makes sense. It's the Boba network, which is like bubble tea, like the tapioca milk tea, and the DEX on Boba network is going to be Oolongswap, right? Because it's tea, and you know if you stake your OmiseGo, you're going to get Oolongswap airdrops. So for that reason, that's why I'm kind of leaning towards staking it and not dumping it right before the airdrop. But like just understand that my plan is to like stake it, get the airdrop, and like dump it, right? Because it sounds like OmiseGo after this Boba airdrop is not going to be worth that much, and it's like kind of like resetting their tokenomics, which I don't know. Like I don't know. I'll figure it out. But you know, it's token price is doing well. I think people are front running this, but who knows, right? Just sharing my research. Okay, so let's go over Terra now, because I think Q4 is going to be a really strong month for the Terra ecosystem, and I'll provide a link to this in the description below. But you know, Columbus 5 went online like 12 hours ago, and it's super bullish for the ecosystem because a lot of applications have been waiting on Columbus 5 to deploy their application, and also Columbus 5 changes the tokenomics of Luna to make it more bullish, right? Because with EIP 1559, right, it's just like more ETH gets burned, right? And people are like, yeah, like we change the tokenomics so it's more bullish. Similarly, the Luna is also going to be burned, where when there's demand for UST and UST goes over $1, right? Let's say $1.05, just to simplify things, anyone can burn $1 worth of Luna to mint 1 UST. So it's like an arbitrage system, where as long as the demand for UST goes up, more Luna is going to be burned. And because more applications are deploying onto the Terra ecosystem, it's going to increase the demand for UST, which should bode well for the price of Luna. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure like most of this has been priced in, right? Like why else do you think the price of Luna has gone from like here to here in a span of 2 months, right? It's mostly pricing this in. However, I do think that in terms of like, if you take like a long-term mindset, like I think Luna is undervalued. I think Luna can be a top 5 token. Just my humble opinion. Maybe not too humble, but just my opinion. Just because I think Luna has the best tokenomics, one of the best tokenomics in all of crypto. And I feel like I'm kind of underexposed to Luna, even though I do have a relatively large bag. But I still think it's undervalued. And I think people have like this mentality of like not wanting to buy things higher just because like they bought something at a lower price, or they just missed out, right? And they don't want to buy at a higher price. But at the end of the day, like, you should like buy things that you think is cheap, that you think presents a good risk reward, right? Because I got into Luna like on the 9th, right? Like just below $8, and I feel totally comfortable buying this at $38 or like even at $40, just because there's so much utility for the Luna token. It's super bullish, the tokenomics, and I like the ecosystem. How can I say I like the ecosystem? And one of the reasons, or I guess one of the metrics that I look at, that I guess is only available to me, is like my engagement data, right? Because to be honest, like all of my Luna videos do really well, really well. They're always like ranking by views. They're like always in the top 5, and I think it kind of speaks to volume about like how strong the Luna community is, and how much interest there is in the ecosystem. And not gonna lie, I thought this video wasn't like one of my best videos. I thought it was like okay, but I mean people are like, oh my god, like great video, Columbus 5 bullish, you know. So there's a lot of interest in the Terra ecosystem. For people that want to know more about new applications, I really suggest people check out DYOR, his YouTube channel. He had like a 2.5-hour live stream a couple hours before Columbus 5 launched, and they had a bunch of developers from other protocols that's going to be deploying on Terra to talk about, you know, like what they're going to be doing. And, you know, not everyone has the time to sit through like 2.5-hour video, so I'll just talk about the 4 protocols that I'm most bullish on post Columbus 5. And these protocols are going to be launching in Q4. One is Astroport, right? Astroport is going to be sort of like a hybrid of Curve and like any decent. It's going to be a decentralized exchange, and they're going to have different. Models of like, I guess they're going to have like the X times Y equals K curve, right? Which is like Uniswap, and they're also going to have more capital efficient curves like or like capital efficient pools such as like Curve's model, right? Where if you're swapping from UST to USDT or something, like, you know, it's better to like create technology that's like suited for stable swaps. So I think this is gonna be a really good one. Right now, the only DEX is like Paraswap and Mirror Finance on Terra, which is like, it's fine, right? But it's basic, and I think this is gonna be the #1 exchange when it launches. Also, I'm super bullish Mars Protocol. This is like the first real money market on Terra. Anchor is a pseudo money market, right? You can like take your ETH and Luna, use it as collateral to borrow dollars, but it's not like a real money market because you can only like borrow those assets. But with Mars, it's gonna enable a bunch of other assets as collateral. From what I heard, you'll be able to use AUST as collateral, right? So imagine putting $10,000 into Anchor, earning 20%, and then using AUST, which is the interest-bearing token, putting it as collateral on Mars to borrow more UST and redepositing it into Anchor, stuff like that. It's going to allow for things like that. I think you can also use some M assets as collateral, right? So think about, you know, using Apple, right? The stock as collateral and borrowing dollars against it, things like that. Like, you don't have to be like a genius to like understand how great those implications are going to be. So super bullish to Mars Protocol. And in this video, I think they talked about you'll be able to farm Mars tokens by providing UST as collateral on Mars. So, you know, ultimately the tokenomics of Luna is that if there's more demand for UST, Luna gets burned and Luna goes up. And so the entire Terra ecosystem is designed to create more utility and demand for UST, which is the most powerful thing. Next protocol I'd like to talk about is Nexus. Essentially, Nexus is going to integrate with like Anchor and Mirror, where essentially it's gonna, if you deposit if you like borrow, or if you use like BLuna or BETH as collateral and borrow dollars against it, it's gonna be hard to like manage your position when the markets are really volatile, right? There's a chance you could get liquidated. But through Nexus, you could deposit your position, your Anchor position on Nexus, and it will automatically like adjust your position so you won't get liquidated. And for the, also like mention that for these protocols, like I'm not saying I'm bullish the token, right? I don't know what the tokenomics are going to be. I'm just saying I'm bullish the projects themselves, because with crypto, the token, you have to focus on the tokenomics, because Aave is like my favorite application on all of DeFi, but I'm not bullish the token, right? I don't hold any of the tokens. I just like the application, right? I don't have to be bullish the token just because I'm bullish the application, right? So yeah, like I'm not saying I'm bullish these tokens. I'm just saying I'm bullish the utility of these protocols. And lastly, there's this thing called Alice. it's going to be a mobile app that's supposedly going to also launch in the US, where they're going to be, it'll give you, I think, like 9%, 9.3% on dollars, right? And this is going to be UST. And you're also going to be able to send money to other people, and they're going to give you a debit card where you can spend the UST in America, in November, which is kind of insane. And one of the reasons I'm bullish the Terra ecosystem is because there's like real world use cases, right? Like imagine earning, I mean, it's not 20% on this, right? I'm sure they're like taking a cut for fees and whatnot, and like, you know, their profits. But imagine like earning 9% on UST and being able to, you know, pay for meals with UST with a debit card. That's pretty insane. I should probably sign up here, but you know, they have backing from the Do Kwon mechanism, and I think this is highly anticipated. And you know, like this is the beauty of Terra, right? Like right now, Terra, they're big in South Korea, right? But you know, it looks like they're trying to make expansion to the US as well. I'm not really sure how the regulatory scene is going to be, because I know that the regulators, they don't like when people can earn like nice yield on like stable coins. So I don't know, like I feel like there might be issues there, but I mean, they announced it, like they said it's coming in November, so I'm just going to take them for their word. So super bullish the Luna ecosystem. Yes, I feel like I feel like I should have bought more here, I should have bought more here, should have bought more here, but you know, like I think it's still, I in my mind, this is like the top 5 ecosystem token, so you know, I'll be averaging up over time. So yeah, and when I start taking profits on Avalanche, I'm probably gonna rotate those profits into Luna, some into Fantom, and maybe some into Harmony. So let's go over Fantom, because I've been covering Fantom recently, and I think it's a really interesting ecosystem. Their community is also really strong, and they have some good developers there. So first, looking at the bridge data, I mean, this isn't necessarily that bullish, right? I'm not gonna count the last bar because it's today, and we're only like halfway through today. But like the bridge inflows have been green. Not sure if this will sustain itself, but it's people are bridging into the ecosystem. And don't get me wrong, with Harmony and Fantom, like I'm not saying this thing is gonna like Giga Chad, Giga Moon like next week or even next month. I'm just saying I think in Q4 you can expect these ecosystems to get more traction. And the reason I say that is partly because of these liquidity incentive programs, right? For Fantom, at current prices, it's roughly like a $400 million incentive program. But obviously, if the price of Fantom goes up, then in dollar values, like these incentives are also going to go up, right? Where the Fantom Foundation, they're going to give Fantom to any protocols that can sustain a decent TVL. So for example, like if a protocol maintains a $5 to $50 million TVL for some period of time, they're going to get 1 million Fantom tokens vested over 12 months. So they're going to be rewarding developers, not users. And obviously the developers, they can pay the Fantom to its users if they want to. And that's kind of what Spookyswap is doing, where if you buy Boo, you can stake it for XBoo, and you can earn 42.7% on this position. So, you can have Boo exposure, and you can earn 27% paid in Boo and 15% paid in Fantom. So it's a good token. I think Spookyswap is the number 1 exchange on Fantom, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And I think also if you want to like start using Fantom, right, just like check it out for yourself. I would recommend Spookyswap. I talked about Liquid Driver. I'm not going to talk about it in this video because I talked about it in the last video, but also Curve. I forgot to mention this, but right now you can earn 10% on Bitcoin, not bad. You can earn 12% on dollars, and you can earn this tri-crypto pool. I'm sure the rewards will come at some point, but 5% on ETH, Bitcoin, or stablecoins. I guess, I mean, if you're going to do Bitcoin, you might as well put it in here for no impermanent loss, or stablecoins here, but I'm sure this will get rewards as well. So if you're interested in bridging over the Fantom ecosystem, check Curve, check Spookyswap, check Liquid Driver, do your own research, right? I think Liquid Driver is a DYOR project because it's very, very high risk, but that's kind of how I'm eyeing the ecosystem. And their community is super strong. And lastly, I was going to go over DeFi Kingdoms because this thing has been, let me just connect to the Harmony ecosystem. Yeah, this thing has been insane, right? Right now, the price of Jewel is $1.50. Keep in mind, I've been farming this for 2.5 weeks-ish, and I've made roughly $3,000 off of my initial $8,000 deposit. And the reason I've been farming and dumping the token is because, like most of the rewards are going to be locked until July of 2022. So my thesis is that, hey, like I'm super bullish on this project. I think it'll do well, but just in case I'm wrong, I'm just gonna farm and dump the token, because if I am right and this project takes off, then my locked tokens are gonna be worth so much that I don't even care if I farmed and dumped the Jewel token too early. It's going up as I speak. So right now I've been farming the Jewel 1 pair right here. So this is the risky pool. It's 5,500% APR because I'm exposed to the farm token, right? But the entire thesis for DeFi Kingdoms is that it's a game, right? It's essentially a game where it's a decentralized exchange that's built inside a game. And there's with the game, there's going to be in-game utility for the Jewel token. So, if the game takes off, then people will be just like buying Jewel tokens to like transact in the ecosystem, which is gonna like, I guess, help prevent the dump pressure on the farm token, which is Jewel. And you can go to the teller and you can stake your Jewel for X Jewel and earn a third of trading fees. I'm not doing this because I'm just, like I mentioned, I'm just like farming and dumping this in the garden. If you think this is too risky, the Jewel token, the pool too, there are other farms like 1 USDC and 1 ETH, right? 1 BUSD, a Bitcoin and ETH, all paying like 500% plus. Because, if you think DeFi Kingdoms will work, you're essentially kind of betting that the Harmony ecosystem will also do well, right? Because if the Harmony ecosystem does not pick up, then no matter how good the game is, Jewel is not going to do well. So, if you want to exposure to this, these pools are pretty decent, at least in my opinion, right? You're exposed to the 1 token. You can pair it up with USDC for 800% or just with ETH for 650%. So I think this is a good farm for people with all sorts of risk profiles. And for me personally, even though I do see Q4 and Q1 to be, a good quarter for the Harmony ecosystem, I'm only going to allocate what I've already allocated, which is the $8,000, just because this is like super high risk, super high beta, and if it does work, then this bet is going to pay off bigly. And also the thesis for DeFi Kingdoms is that when you look at the top decentralized exchanges on every single ecosystem, the native DEX is always number 1, right? So for Avalanche, it's Trader Joe. It's not SushiSwap, it's Trader Joe. On Polygon, it was QuickSwap and not SushiSwap, right? Right now, SushiSwap is the number 1 DEX on Harmony, but I think that at some point, some other decentralized exchange that's native to the Harmony ecosystem is going to flip it in terms of TVL, because that's what like historically happens. SushiSwap is always like the number 2 or number 3 DEX in terms of TVL, which doesn't mean I'm like bearish the Sushi token, but like I'm just saying that like if I were to bet on a DEX to flip SushiSwap, it's going to be this, and if it does, then it's going to be good for my bags. So there's that. I guess I talked about all ecosystems. So I just want to go back to this post I made here about, I guess, like my outlook for Q4, because my outlook for Q4 and my outlook for the next, let's say, month is going to be different from my outlook for, let's say, the next 12 months, right? Because I'm focused on Avalanche because there are many catalysts coming, right? They just had Coinbase listing, they have Avalanche Rush coming, and there's going to be a lot of mind share in the Avalanche ecosystem. And to be honest, the farms on Avalanche is going to be good, right? Even if you're like not that long-term, even if you're not long-term bullish the Avalanche ecosystem. And like I mentioned, I think Luna Q4 is going to be a good one. Fantom, maybe Q4, Q1, good one. ETH Layer 2, I think ETH Layer 2 is going to be like where most activity is going to be like 12 months from now. But in the meantime, there's like not that much development. And then Harmony here too. And then, this is like a fool's errand, trying to guess like top ecosystems 12 months from now. But I think ETH Layer 2 is going to be where majority of the mind share is going to be, just because, ETH is the daddy, right? So you can't bet against the daddy. And if Arbitrum and Optimism, or even like Boba Network, if it can help scale Ethereum, like why wouldn't people like use it, right? I think Luna, like I'm super bullish Luna. I think the combination of great tokenomics plus real world use cases with the good developer activity is going to be good for the token. So, I'll be bullish there. Solana too. I think Solana, like right now I'm not too bullish just because they had the 18-hour outage. They went on a blow off top. Their valuation's pretty high. But if you take a longer term mindset, I do think Solana has like good use cases with like how scalable it is. I mean, it's super centralized, but I mean, you have to make that trade-off, right? And I've talked to some developers in the Solana ecosystem, and like they're really like on top of their game. Not to mention they have so much backing, right? They have so much money, and they can kind of do whatever they want with it. And I don't really talk about Polkadot, but I think I will start talking about it in the future. I think the way they designed their blockchain is really, really good. And Gavin Wood, who is the founder of Polkadot, was the co-founder of Ethereum. So, there's that. And I think Avalanche and Atom, I'm going to have CryptoCito on the channel next week to talk about Atom. But, I mean, I can't say much for the Atom ecosystem right now just because I'm not like an expert there. But I do really like the whole, connecting blockchains idea, IBC, etc. So hopefully next week I'll have a better understanding of Atom. And I want people to understand that, hey, like even though I'm bullish Fantom and Harmony like right now, I don't really consider it to be like a crazy great ecosystem 12 months from now. The only reason I'm interested is because I just think that they're undervalued today as of September 30th. And given that they have these liquidity mining incentives coming online, I do think that they're going to have their own season. I'm not saying that they're going to be top 20, top 10. Like I'm not saying that. But in terms of like risk reward, I do think it presents a decent opportunity because I think Harmony, their market cap is like under 2 billion. Fantom is roughly 3 billion. And let me just go to my starred section. Like if you look at all these other L1s, like Algorand, Tezos, Elrond, Hedera, Hashgraph, Near, Celo, like it kind of confuses me like why Harmony and Fantom is all the way down here, given how good their technology is and how many developers are working on it. And maybe I'm just like too ignorant on like what's happening on Algorand, Elrond, Hedera, Hashgraph, Near, and whatever. But I do think that if Avalanche deserves to be a $15 billion market cap, then I think Fantom can get up there, right? Maybe it peaks at like $9 billion market cap, right? Or maybe it's like 3x. I simply do not know. But I do think there's potential here. And Harmony, $1.5 billion market cap, like, is it going to hit the top 20? Probably not. But can I get to like a $5 billion market cap? I think so, right? Especially if DeFi Kingdoms works out, especially if, Aave and Curve does come online, right? Because Fantom, they have the $370 million incentive program. And I don't have the tab up in here, but Harmony, they're going to have a $300 million program. So, money is going to flow into these ecosystems, in my opinion. So I do think it makes sense to start thinking about these rotations. And even when I say rotations, you should know that like my bet on Avalanche is so much bigger than my bet on Fantom and Harmony, right? Just because my conviction lies on Avalanche, I'm just starting to rotate into these ecosystems just because, like, I do think it presents a good risk reward. That's all I'm saying. So at the end of the day, what can I say? Bullish Avalanche in the short term. Long term, I'm not sure. Bullish Terra all the time. I need to buy more Terra. I need to buy more Luna. OmiseGo, I have no idea what to think of this. Maybe like my mindset is too 100 IQ, and maybe I'm too conservative when it comes to like just me assuming that they're just resetting their tokenomics and whatever, but who knows, right? Just like neutral on this one. Fantom and Harmony, I think good risk reward. So hopefully this is a good overview of everything that's going on in my mind. Hopefully Aave launches soon because like blue balls everywhere. So thanks for watching. And one thing I forgot to mention is that in the description, link is in the description, I have a feedback form. I'll be picking 3 winners randomly, where those 3 winners can either get a refund for their first month, right? So like whenever you signed up, you'll get a refund on that, or you can choose one or the other. You can have like a 1-hour call with me to discuss outlook for crypto, the markets, your portfolio, etc. So depending on like whatever you want, I'll announce it. I'll probably do the drawing tomorrow. October 1st, just so I can give people time to fill out the form. So look out for that. And yeah, hopefully this Discord has been, provided value. I'm working really hard doing research, but yeah, just let me know what your thoughts are, either in the comment section below or in the Discord. So thanks for watching. Have a good one. And when the hell is Avi and Crib going?